Everyone thinks the ocean always gives up its dead. They're profoundly wrong. The vast, indifferent expanse of the South Pacific holds secrets. Secrets whispered by the currents, hidden in the deepest trenches, and sometimes left floating on the surface, a chilling testament to humanity's fragility. One such secret arrived in 1955, a ghost ship drifting aimlessly, its crew utterly vanished. The MV Joyita wasn't some ancient derelict. She was a modern, 70-foot motor vessel built in 1931, robust and well-maintained. She'd served with distinction during World War II, a testament to her durability, before being converted into a fishing and passenger charter boat for the serene waters of the South Pacific. Her final voyage began on October 3, 1955. The Joyita departed from Apia, Samoa, bound for the Tokelau Islands, a journey of roughly 270 nautical miles. Aboard were 25 souls: Captain Thomas H. Miller, an experienced mariner, his crew, and several government officials and passengers, including a doctor. The trip was expected to take between 41 to 48 hours. She was carrying medical supplies, timber, and various foodstuffs. A routine journey, one that Captain Miller had completed countless times. What could possibly go wrong? When the Joyita failed to arrive on October 6th, concern began to mount. Search efforts were initiated, initially by a Royal New Zealand Air Force Sunderland flying boat. For days, the vast expanse of the Pacific yielded nothing. No wreckage, no lifeboats, no trace of the Joyita or her passengers. Then on November 10th, 5 weeks after her disappearance, the MV Joyita was spotted. Not by a dedicated search party, but by the merchant ship Tuvalu, approximately 600 miles west of her scheduled course, drifting north of Fiji. The sight that greeted them was profoundly unsettling. The Joyita was listing heavily, nearly submerged, with her starboard side awash. Her propellers were fouled, and her radio was tuned to the international distress frequency, but a broken antenna meant no signal could have been sent. Most disturbing of all, there was no one on board. The vessel was in remarkably good condition, despite the heavy list. Her hull was intact. There was no evidence of a struggle, no signs of pirates or violence. The logbook was gone, but personal belongings, including medical bags, were still aboard. 4 tons of her cargo were also missing, but what remained included medical supplies, suggesting the doctor aboard had never had a chance to use them. The most crucial piece of evidence, however, was her watertight construction. The Joyita was built with cork lining, making her virtually unsinkable. This crucial detail meant that even heavily flooded, she would remain afloat. Why, then, would 25 people abandon a vessel that could not sink, especially with no lifeboats found near her? The official inquiry into the MV Joyita mystery pointed to a series of mechanical failures. The most accepted theory suggests a fractured cooling pipe in the engine room, which would have led to water ingress. This would explain the heavy list. Captain Miller, known for his cautious nature, might have believed the ship was sinking. The pumps could only manage so much water. Faced with rising water, he might have ordered the abandonment. But where did they go? The Joyita carried 3 life rafts, but none were found with the ship. It's plausible they were deployed, and the crew and passengers boarded them. The vastness of the Pacific, however, could easily swallow such small craft without a trace. Another theory suggests a more sinister explanation: piracy. The missing cargo, the broken radio, the disappearance of the logbook, these elements could point to foul play. But the lack of any struggle or bloodstains on board contradicts this. Some speculate that the crew encountered Japanese fishermen operating illegally in the area. Perhaps a confrontation, a misunderstanding, led to the crew being taken captive or worse. But again, there's no concrete evidence to support this dark theory. Then there's the possibility of a mutiny. Captain Miller was known to be a difficult man, reportedly having arguments with his crew. Could internal strife have escalated, leading to violence and the abandonment of the ship? One bizarre detail adds to the enigma. A canvas awning had been erected over the Joyita's main hatch. This suggests an attempt to keep something dry or perhaps shelter from the sun or rain after the initial flooding. This detail throws a wrench into the simple abandoned ship theory. If they had abandoned the vessel in a panic, why would they take the time to rig an awning? It implies a period of assessment, an attempt to manage the situation. Perhaps the crew remained on board for some time, attempting repairs. The broken cooling pipe, the fouled propellers, the faulty radio, a cascade of failures. If they couldn't repair the engine and couldn't signal for help, their situation was dire. Imagine the scene. A heavily listing vessel, slowly taking on water, drifting hundreds of miles off course, the sun baking down or storms raging. 25 people, hoping for rescue, dwindling supplies, and the crushing realization that no one knows where they are. The Joyita remains one of the most baffling maritime mysteries. Despite extensive investigations, no definitive answer has ever emerged. The ocean, in its infinite power, simply reclaimed the stories of those 25 souls, leaving behind only questions. The ghost ship of the South Pacific continues its silent drift through history, a stark reminder that even with all our technology and understanding, the sea can still surprise us, still terrify us, and still keep its most profound secrets. Click here to uncover another chilling tale of the sea's forgotten victims.